Hello, welcome back to everyone that's tuned into our channel. American Ultra Crew here today. We're bringing you guys an analysis, a review of yesterday's game. Very dramatic affair. The United States and Canada going to the pens. I'm joined by Braden, Shrey, and Jeff. Guys, straight off the bat, let's just go. What do you think? What's your reaction to the penalty shootout? Let's start by the best part of the game because we're gonna give you an in-depth analysis, but it's sort of boring for the most part. Braden, you were at the game. How did you feel? How was it being there for the penalty shootouts?
Yeah, it was electric. Luckily, the shootout was at my end, so I got to see everything up close. And Turner just showed why he's our number one keeper. Just absolutely amazing performance throughout the game and in the shootout, especially bailing us out. And I mean, Canada didn't have the best penalties, but we take it. And our boys did our job, except for Vasquez. I don't know what that was, but he scored at least, so we'll give him credit for that. But yeah, just Turner masterclass.
Yeah, we see. Shrey, you put Vasquez fanboy. Like Braden said, he's Kai penalty. What did you think of that?
Yeah, I was a bit disappointed, but I mean, I felt like he was pretty nervous. When he went for the penalty shootout, he looked pretty nervous, and after he was like, dang, I screwed up. But otherwise, I mean, I thought he played very well, and I hope he starts versus Panama. I'd like to see Jesus play as the 10. And yeah, I was honestly kind of happy this game went to pens because I felt that Turner would bail us out, and he showed once again why he's our number one and why he can honestly play in the top 5 league for sure.
That's a fact. Jeff, were you happy with the pens? I mean, we won, but what was your overall take?
Well, let me just say, the first penalty, Turner got unlucky, but then during the shootout, he got his revenge against Victoria after Victoria scored his first penalty and at stoppage time before we went to extra time. So it's good to see that. And well, I gotta say that we did okay in the shootouts, but I feel like we could have done better. There should be some practices, some drills during practice, for penalties, just in case if we have to, do one again, because I just wasn't so confident during the shootout. And like Shrey said, just relying on Turner to bail us out.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to say that Turner is doing the job of an A-teamer here. We had some expectations for Zendejas, Miles Robinson yesterday as well. Now let's get started into the game. I felt like even the first half, Miles was kind of shaky. I felt like the entire backline, to be honest. I thought that Daejuan Jones had a really poor first half. I don't know if you guys agree. I thought that Buzio, I think it was more the second half that he was not covering well. But since the first 10 minutes, you could tell that it was going to be a Sands versus everybody in the midfield. He was all by himself, I think, covering space, trying to track back and tackle. The fight, I don't think Sands is a great player, but respect to him, I think he can leave with his head held high. And Braden, what do you think about that first half? I mean, that's my overall take. I think that Daejuan Jones, the whole back line was suspect, and Sand was the only one that had a silver lining. What did you think?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think it's kind of a shame that Daejuan Jones got the assist, to be honest, because fans are going to use that as an excuse to say he played well. But watching him the whole game, he was poor. He couldn't defend for anything. Every time he passed the ball, it went to Canada. I think he forgot where he's from, to be honest. But yeah, Miles Robinson, very disappointing. He's supposed to be one of our A-teamers along with Turner, but just gave away a stupid penalty that let Canada back into the game at the last minute. And Neil had his worst game of the tournament, which is to be expected as a 19-year-old. You can't really fault him too much. It's a big stage for a teenager. And Reynolds as well also had his worst game of the tournament. So yeah, horrible back line.
Yeah, I agree that Reynolds had his worst game. Honestly, I felt like we're gonna get into the second half a little bit later on, but even from the beginning, you could tell that he wasn't comfortable, not progressive enough. And I'm not trying to scapegoat Mihailovic and Buzio, but I think one of the aspects that made Reynolds' game look so bad is that they weren't there as an option when he had the ball to progress it forward. Felt like there was a big disconnection and gap between our midfielders and the backline, and our midfielders in the attack. They were just, I mean, I saw Zendejas pushing up forward, him and Gressel, way so much. They were going forward to the point where they were behind the Canadian backline at times. Felt like everyone was. I don't know if that's on BJ, but the players seemed really disconnected tactically. What do you think, Shrey?
Yeah, I thought Mihailovic was really poor, to be honest, and he's someone that a lot of the fans and a lot of the fan base kind of expects him to be pushing for an A-team spot, and he just did not show it. He did not show it yesterday. I mean, look, this Canada team, it's really bad. Like, there's no reason why, honestly, anyone should have struggled versus this team, especially someone like Jordy, who we expect so much from. But yeah, I thought he was really poor. Honestly, I thought he was worse than Busio. I thought he was really poor.
Yeah, that's fair. Jeff, what did you think?
Yeah.
Midfield or entire first half?
Yeah, the entire backline was pretty bad. Daquan Jones, he had his worst game yet of the tournament, and throughout those mistakes that he's been making, I've just been screaming out, bring on John Tolkien. Maybe he can offer something different. Reynolds as well. He had his worst game of the tournament as well. Also, Jalen Neal, for once he didn't have a good performance, but that's normal for a teenager and for a youngster. He's got a lot of improvement to do, and also there's plenty of time for him to improve. And yeah, everyone just looked lost in the first half. The second half, there were some players that were doing better. Like Busio was starting to pick up the wake up and you start getting involved in the game. Ferreira was pretty decent with his movement, moving into the cam position, and I gotta say that Gressel didn't look bad, for his first start. He looked pretty decent and okay, but I still would have started Cowell. Like I said, once when Cowell came on, he brought something different. So yeah, but overall, there were some positives and there were some negatives in this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice they mentioned Cowell. I was going to mention him right now in the subs that Greg made. I mean, before the 70th minute, I felt like it was possibly the most boring 20 minutes of a half before he brought on Vasquez and Cowell. The game was so boring. Nothing was going on. I can't even imagine what it felt, Braden, like to drive all the way over there and watch that. Nothing was going on. The entire team was disconnected. And Kyle, I'll give him one thing. Like Jeff said, that we should be a little bit more patient with Neil for making picks. I think the same goes with Kyle, because the guy has a lot of will, a lot of fight in him. The end product is terrible sometimes. It really is terrible. But he has good ideas. Twice he was trying to cross the ball, and even on the replay, his foot, like he was trying to do the right thing, but just doesn't have the ability to do so yet. So I'll give him some props for looking lively and fighting. I mean, there was one play where he fought 3 off to gain a corner, and he was pumped for that. I mean, that's the sort of energy that I expect from youngsters, and I don't mind him playing poorly if it means that he's getting experience to show that maybe he can go to Europe, maybe he can be an A-teamer someday. Braden, what did you think being in the stadium when Vasquez was announced to come on? Did you think that he was going to have the impact that he did?
I did.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, the first 20 minutes of the second half was really boring, and every 5 minutes or so, the entire stadium just started chanting, "We want Vasquez," obviously being in Cincy. And they went absolutely crazy when him and Miazga came on. And I just knew that he was going to come up with something. He immediately had a couple chances that were just wide or just over. And yeah, his goal was definitely coming with the entire crowd behind him. He definitely felt at home, which I think a lot of our players didn't, in all honesty, based on their performances. So yeah, he definitely had a great performance off the bench. And going back to Cowell, I don't understand how you can say he should be starting, in all honesty, because he's the perfect player to bring off the bench. When the defense gets tired, his pace and athleticism is second to none, in all honesty, and he brings that extra factor that we don't have. And just starting, I don't think he'd have the same impact. So yeah, he should still be a super sub.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair, because when his energy levels are right here and everyone else is here, he can actually thrive. But if he starts the game, I think he will find it a lot tougher. Jeff, you wanted to say, as soon as I mentioned Vasquez, you wanted to say something? Go ahead. What did you think? And I'm just going to mention about the other Cincy player, Miazga, coming on. I know that Jalen Neal wasn't having the best of days, but I don't think he would have come on if it wasn't in Cincy. I mean, that's the only reason I can think why they brought Miazga on. Jeff, what did you think?
No, I'm more questionable why they brought on Aaron Long as well. Maybe they just brought him for energy, just not for like quality or to try to defend the game, just for energy purposes. But yeah, but once I heard that Brendan Vasquez was coming on, I just knew that immediately he was gonna do what he did against Jamaica. Just score when we need him to. Give us a decisive goal, and he did just that. And I really felt like he was really motivated to make a difference, and he did. But he's got to start versus Panama. Start versus Panama. Have Ferreira play as a cam. And they'll do wonders like that. Ferreira, especially with his creativity, he can actually give pretty good support to Vasquez playing as a 10. And yeah, he did really good, and I'm hoping he starts versus Panama on Wednesday.
All right, Straight, what did you make of those last 20 minutes? You mentioned the boring first 20 minutes, and we had the last 20 minutes that were just crazy. And I like that Jeff and Braden want Vasquez to start against Panama because that's his hometown. San Diego is where Brandon Vasquez was brought up, so it's also pretty nice. Has that nostalgic feeling as well. What do you think, Trey?
Yeah, honestly, I totally agree with Jeff. He took the words right out of my mouth. I think Vasquez should definitely start up top, and I think Ferreira needs to play the 10. Because, I mean, we saw what Jordy did yesterday. It really wasn't it. He did not have a good game. And I know I feel like I might being a bit too harsh on him, but, like, this Canada team was not good at all. Like, I really expected more from Jordy. So, yeah, definitely put Ferreira at the 10, put Vasquez up top. And honestly, Cal, yeah, I'd say keep bringing him off the bench because that's when he's more effective as a super sub. So yeah, I'd say keep Cal on the bench.
Yeah, I mean, let's do extra time. Nothing was going on, and then second half of extra time comes on, and everything starts happening. Let's talk about the goal. I mean, that was a little bit controversial in some group chats in our fan base on Twitter. I mean, we know how our fan base can get. But some people are blaming. I'm just going to jump on what Trey said about Ferreira playing the 10. I'll give him. He had more work ethic yesterday than any of our midfielders, bar Sands, honestly. He was tracking back a lot. And some people fault him for the second goal. I don't see that. I mean, it's not Ferreira's fault. Brian Reynolds, again, worst game of... You raise your hand, Jeff. I'm gonna go straight to you, Jeff. How can you fault Ferreira for that?
Okay, finally that fun.
Let me just finish. How can you fault him for that goal? If you are not, you specifically said you're not going to give him credit for trekking back prior. So you're not going to give him credit.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say I'm not giving him credit for trekking back. I said I'm not giving him credit for not tackling that guy. Like, he was running after him. You have to be on my side on this. He was running after him. Why did he stop? Tell me. Why did he stop? He could have at least stuck in a tackle or at least stick his leg out to stop him, slow him down.
He's not a defender. He got dribbled.
It doesn't matter. Look, I could be playing striker, and if I see the opportunity running after a guy that's through on goal, like he was kind of through on goal, I would just stick in a tackle, throw myself at him, just stop him right there. But everyone is at fault. Reynolds, Ferreira, and Miazga. Miazga is also, mainly to blame for not, trying to stop the guy from scoring. But also Reynolds for giving it away. They all had a part in this. They all had a part in that play.
Yeah, and Sands, I mean, some things that it can be really easy to ignore is just how many players each player is covering. I mean, Sands, as soon as he loses the ball, as Reynolds gives the ball away, Sands is tracking back and looking over his shoulder. He's covering two players. And that's when Jesus tries to track back as well. But Mihailovic and Buzi were nowhere to be seen. And I never like it when defenders are just backing off. And Miazga, he was backing off inside the box. I mean, was he trying to let Schaffelberg go inside the goal? Brayden, you were inside the stadium. What was your reaction to that goal?
Yeah, like you guys said, the defensive performance there was just absolutely shocking. I mean, obviously Miazga in his stadium playing for Cincy, the crowd was behind him, but he just completely let everyone down. Like you said, I'm not sure why he's not stepping to the ball. Like if he steps to the ball and gets beat, that's fine. Like we can at least say that he at least tried. to stop Schaffelberg, but he just kept backing off like he thought someone was going to come in and help him, but no one was there to help him because everyone was behind the play. Like Jeff said, Ferreira stopped running. I'm not faulting him at all for that. He's a striker. He shouldn't have been tracking back in the first place. That's not his job. But Reynolds lost the ball. He was behind it, and there was no help from the midfield or from Aaron Long. So I don't understand why Miazga just kept backing off and let Schaffelberg have a free run on goal and a pretty good finish, I think it has to be said as well.
Yeah, Shrey, what do you think? Like Braden said, Miazga was just backing off, and it sucks for me to see our defenders doing basic mistakes. Schaffelberg's a lefty, force him to his right. Just, if you're afraid to commit, at least commit forcing the guy to his weak foot. But he didn't do that. Shrey, what did you think of that moment?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Like, what is Miazga doing? He has to do better. I mean, come on. Honestly, I don't have much more to say. I don't blame for the goal, like Jeff was saying, and some other people. But yeah, I mainly blame Reynolds and Miazga because Reynolds gave the ball away, and Miazga definitely should have done better stopping Schaffelberg from scoring.
Guys, since we're talking about Ferreira and he's controversial, let's pick. Which players do you guys think, I'll go to Braden first, can leave with their heads held high and that up their stock, if you can say, and which players definitely had a disaster class and shouldn't be played for the next game? I mean, we're coming to the end of this tournament. Braden, who do you pick?
Yeah, I think it's a shame that we can't make more roster changes because honestly, 90% of the team was absolutely horrible, which is a shame to see, especially the midfield. Like Rusio and Mihailovic, I think we've touched on this already, but they were nowhere to be found. Sands, I think massive props to him. Like you said earlier, he's not our best player by any means, but he was my man of the match besides Turner. Obviously, if Turner has to be man of the match for his performances in the penalty shootout, but besides him, I think Sands was far and away our best player. It was 1-on-3 in the midfield, and he was doing everything he could to stop Canada by himself. But yeah, it just sucks that we don't have any options on the bench besides Jackson Ewell, and I think I'd rather have a traffic cone than Jackson Ewell. But yeah, but besides Sands, obviously Turner can lead with his head held high. Vasquez, it's a tough one because he scored the goal, but skying the penalty, I think the nerves just got to him, being in Cincy with the whole crowd behind him in such a high pressure situation. It can get to a young player like that, which is, I think I would have had him take a penalty, honestly. But he did bail us out with the goal. So I think he can leave pretty happy with his performance. But besides that, the rest of the team, they just need to improve. And it's not like we have good options on the bench to bring in for them, which kind of sucks. I think maybe at fullbacks, Yeblin and Tolkien need to come in for the next game. But besides that, just hope the team plays better, honestly.
That's fair. I'm just going to say mine. Sands, Cowell, and Turner. Vasquez as well. I'll pick those four to be standouts, players that can leave with their heads held high and thinking I somewhat did my job. And I think that Miazga's stock was already down after last match. Now it's even worse. I think that Miazga, Reynolds, Daejuan Jones, but Daejuan Jones got the assist. That's going to sugarcoat his performance. But yeah, the rest of the team, I agree with Brandon. Shrey, who would you pick?
Yeah, I'd have to go with Sands, Vasquez, and Turner, to be honest. Just those three. Cal to an extent, kind of. Just his end product was so bad. That's the only reason why. But he did bring a lot of creativity.
All right, Jeff?
Yeah, I agree. Sands, he can leave this game with his head held high. Finally and surprisingly, he was one of the only players playing after the past games. He wasn't as vital as he was during this match. So yeah, he can live with his head held high. He definitely had a good game. Next up, Matt Turner, in my opinion, our best player on this team. I think we can all agree on that. Matt Turner. Yeah,
sure.
I knew it. Yeah, I knew it. Just being Matt Turner, just being that guy that we can always rely on, count on. And I'm gonna go Vasquez because in my opinion, that goal, once again, showing up when we need him, and especially at home, and especially with them, delivering when the fans wanted him, to be the game changer, and he was. So, yeah, he could definitely leave this game with his head held high. He's just gotta improve his his penalties, because that one, it kind of affected him, that miss in the shootout. But yeah, overall, he's making a case for himself, and yeah, for the disappointments, obviously I'm gonna go Brian Reynolds. He didn't have a good game at all. Daquan Jones is another one that didn't play well either. And the other player I was gonna say is Miles Robinson. The dude, he's got to stop throwing his arms around everywhere, because he costed us not once but twice. For a VAR check of a pen. The first one, he got lucky that Busio got fouled. If it wasn't for that foul, Canada probably could have won this game, or possibly could have won this game. And the second one, once again, throwing his arms around like if he was flying or something, like he's Superman, just throwing his arms everywhere. And yeah, it's not. He's just got to keep his arms to himself. If he's gonna be going for interception. But yeah, he wasn't good after all. After what I just mentioned, he wasn't good either.
All right. Thank you so much, guys, for sticking out for this video, watching it all the way to the end. Watch out for the 100 sub special. We thank you so much for being here, all of the new subs that we've gotten recently. We're going to bring you guys a cool video. Hopefully you're going to enjoy it. It's coming out this week. Thank you so much, Brayden. Thank you, Shrey. Thank you, Jeff. We appreciate it. And yeah, let's go for the next one. Panama in San Diego, my home place. Let's hope it does it against Panama.